Today, no one gets a job without an interview. And for many people, one of the hardest things to do is interview for a job. It can be a cause for frustration, stress, and anxiety.
Hello, I'm Bob Smith, Customer Service Manager.
Hi, I'm Norm Weaver.
An interview is an exchange of information between an employer and you as a candidate to see if you and the position match. Some employers know how to interview, some do not.
So, tell me about yourself. How do you relate to the customer service field and the position of technical writing supervisor?
Some candidates are not prepared very well for either kind of interviewer. The candidates who are prepared to interview successfully are the ones who get the jobs.
My relationship to the technical writing field began when I received my bachelor's degree in engineering in 1978. My first job after graduation was for a manufacturer who needed a writer for instruction manuals. 3 years later, I took a job as a technical writer for my present employer, where I've risen to a supervisory position.
This program will help you be among the candidates who are prepared for interviewing for a job. First, let's take a minute to look at the employer's thinking. Look at the situation from their perspective.
Our technical writing department can't or won't produce any more than 6 maintenance manuals per year. The only thing is, we bring out at least 8 new products each year.
An employer is motivated because they have a problem to solve, and you may be the solution. Knowing that, you try to recognize what the problem is, then show how you are a solution.
The situation here would take some study, but in my last position, I initiated procedures which saved time in several ways, and it increased manual production 40% in the first year.
But let's take a look at the situation from the interviewer's position. They see themselves as taking a great risk in having the responsibility to hire someone. Then, on top of it, having to be responsible for this new person's actions. Many times the interviewer has an actual fear for keeping his or her own job or making future promotions due to the result of hiring you.
Changes in procedures can cause disruptions to personnel. How did you handle that?
They want to be pretty sure that you're going to work out okay and not make their lives harder. So the employer looks for 6 main things in a candidate. First, they want to see if you are mature and realistic. They want to see if you're normal.
Changes are accepted by personnel over time. I made sure procedural changes were eased into position in small steps.
Second, of course, is to see if you have the ability to do the job.
Your samples of manuals look good to me. I like your clear, simple writing style.
Third, the employer is looking for training and experience.
During my first 3 years at my last job, I was able to take specialized night courses in technical writing. Those courses helped me develop my writing style.
Fourth, do you show a willingness to do the job and a general positive nature?
I enjoy most of the activities of customer service. The sense of accomplishment after finishing a long, hard project is a feeling I really like.
Fifth, how well do you get along with others? And does that come across to the interviewer?
The other employees and myself were together so much that it was important to be friends, as well as work associates. That camaraderie was the only way we could have gotten as many projects finished as we did.
Sixth, do you express by research, preparation, and attitude that you have a genuine desire to meet the organization's goals?
I know how important good technical writing is to customer service. Any organization likes to point with pride to satisfied customers.
In short, an employer wants a job done and to maintain company goals with the least amount of problems. As we mentioned in the beginning of this program, we are looking at the interview as a two-way exchange of information. There are also things that you want to know about the employer. You are looking for facts and feelings from the company to see if you like the company, the job itself, and the boss. If any of these are wrong, then you know you won't enjoy the job. In fact, If they are wrong, and you know it before the interview, don't even go. You'll just be wasting yours and the interviewer's time. This program will give you the tools to impress the interviewer with what they want to know. And it will help you find the information you need to confirm that you want the job. This program is divided into 4 sections, or 4 steps to a successful interview. Self-organization, interview preparation, interview conduct, and the follow-up. We encourage you to take notes on major points in this program and to replay the tape to review either sections or the whole program again. We'll begin with Section 1, Self-Organization. The very first step to a successful interview is to thoroughly know yourself and your background. Self-organization is a process of listing and analyzing your assets, achievements, liabilities, goals, and objectives. In the process of preparing your resume, you should have made a list of work-related assets, achievements, liabilities, and goals. Review those notes about yourself before the interview. You don't want to spend precious interview time merely repeating what is already on the resume. Expand on that information by the study of your own analysis. Even more important is to be prepared to use that information about yourself in the answers to interview questions. During the interview, it's up to you to cleverly mention your assets and achievements while answering those questions. If you haven't done so already for your resume, then take the time to write down your assets, like fast learner, the ability to communicate well, good planner, good organizer. Next, a list of accomplishments or achievements should be developed. You will want to be ready to tell about your achievements as a way to demonstrate your assets. Your assets are what allowed you to accomplish your achievements. If you put some thought into your list of past achievements, you will incite the imagination of the interviewer as to what you might accomplish for him or her.
I have written a complete competitive analysis, and I can do the same for your company.
I reduced scrap in production by 7%, saving my company over $15,000 a year.
I served as student council vice president. I suggested a new safety shield that reduced serious accidents.
I had the fastest accuracy typing speed in my class.
Don't sell yourself short. If you have spent a period of time at home raising a family, then
I have planned and prepared several hundred at-home meals.
It's important to write it all down to make sure that nothing is overlooked, that during the interview there is no pause for memory search. Even though you might think that you would want to hide your weaknesses, you should also take into account your liabilities. Nobody's perfect, and the interviewer knows it. It is to your advantage to let the employer know of some workable liabilities and what you are doing to reduce or eliminate them. The interviewer is looking for your weaknesses, and you should be prepared to offer them in a manner that you control and is comfortable to you. Your honesty about your liabilities can be considered an asset in the employer's eyes. So it is important to be equally prepared in listing liabilities.
I put things off.
You can even phrase liabilities in positive terms.
But sometimes I find that a problem solves itself.
If you prefer a cluttered desk, have trouble talking on the phone, and paperwork drives you up a wall, it should be told. Tell about any work restrictions you may have.
My personal situation will permit up to 50% travel.
I can't work on Sundays, but Saturdays are no problem.
Fumes from welding and paint make me sick unless I wear a mask.
I do not take shorthand, but my note-taking skills are good.
These are important points to include in an interview. One of your goals in the job search is to have a job that you will be happy with. It's better to find out now if there are elements to the job that could cause dissatisfaction. When you go in for an interview, you should have your own goals and objectives clearly defined. Many people don't really know what they want to do. Know yourself. You must convey where you want to be 5 or 10 years from now. Have a career path. If you are undecided about what you want to do, this will come out in the interview and will probably cost you the job. Companies today want employees capable of making a decision. And this can be best demonstrated by showing during the interview that you have clearly thought it through and decided this is the job you want.
I'll take anything you have. I just want to work here.
Have a specific position you want. Find and know your special niche. Do not aim too high or too low. If you are a welding foreman, don't settle for welder, unless this is really what you want to do. Set up a career path. Accountant now, credit manager in 2 years, accounting manager in 5 years, controller in 10, vice president of finance in 15. In making decisions that affect family members, be sure to include the family before the interview. If your family is unhappy with the new arrangements, it increases the probability that you will be unhappy too. If a job involves travel, what amount of time are you willing to be away from home? 10%, 25%, 50%? If the job involves relocation now or in the future, will you move? How far? To a large city? To a smaller division of the company? What salary will you accept? The same for a job with more responsibility and better chance for promotion? Be realistic. Today, most companies pay 5% to 15% increase, not 25 to 30%. More on money matters in the next section, Section 2, Interview Preparation. Once you have yourself organized, you will be ready to prepare for the interview itself. In this section, we will look at research, questions to expect, questions to ask, what to take, and practice. Know the company and products or services in advance. To do that, you'll have to do some research. This will involve some time at home, at work, at the library, or at other businesses. You should learn as much about the company, its products or services, and employees as possible. Again, this tells the interviewer that you are serious and have made a decision to work for the company. Even try to find out the background of the person who will be your boss. It will take some time and effort, but it will be well worth it. A visit to a stockbroker may yield an annual report. The library or your current employer may have trade journals, Thomas Registry, Harris Indexes, Standard & Poor's, Dun & Bradstreet, or Who's Who, where information can be found. Ask someone who works for the company. Ask a salesman who calls on them. Ask a competitor. People may not be successful in landing a job because they are not ready to interview for it. And the interviewer can quickly sense this. As the interview begins, questions asked are usually about work experience. You are, in a sense, convincing, or better yet, selling yourself as the person for the job with the answers given. So, you will want to prepare answers for these questions. You should respond to questions based on your experience or the job you are applying for. Try to keep your answers direct and to the point. During the interview, you are being evaluated on several points. And one very important point is communication. Your ability to communicate clearly and concisely, or briefly and to the point. Also, talk about how you get along with other people and what your supervisory and leadership abilities are. Convey your decision-making skills, which are closely allied to analytical skills. How you think, your speed and degree of comprehension or understanding. That you are a fast learner. This is the time to pull information from your assets and achievements list.
I can identify problems and make recommendations for solutions.
I am able to read a blueprint and determine the number of welds required.
I can look at a balance sheet and tell you about a company's financial well-being in less than 5 minutes.
I organized and directed my church's Sunday school.
Sometimes the questions asked will be actual job simulations or the what-if type. Give answers to demonstrate your job behavior.
If my supervisor asked me to drop everything and prepare a rush bid, I would work through my lunch hour.
If my foreman would ask me to unload a truck before going home, I'd ask 3 fellow workers to help me.
Your responses also let us evaluate your reliability and your respect for the company, your willingness on occasion to place company interests ahead of your self-interest. In sharing information about yourself, talk about your dependability.
During the past year, I was never late or absent, except for 3 days I was sick with the flu.
My previous boss knew he could always depend on me to have the monthly sales figures on his desk by the 3rd of each month.
I never delivered a newspaper late.
I never exceeded my departmental budget.
To answer interview questions, you must be prepared with the answers at your fingertips. Try to respond in a normal, everyday, conversational manner, much as you would with a friend, but with enthusiasm. Don't convey boredom. For the most part, try not to answer questions with a simple yes or no, but rather expand. Yes, as a matter of fact, or no, I haven't found it. Be truthful in your response to any question. Exaggeration, evasion, and distortion will raise a red flag and can place you in an awkward, embarrassing situation, probably being caused to not consider you any further. For the most part, questions asked will concern your work background, including education and your qualifications to handle the job being interviewed for. So answer with this in mind. Anecdotal comments go a long way in helping to understand how you can handle a position. For example, if you are asked,
How would you handle an irate, verbally abusive customer?
Well, that's interesting. That's happened to me before. I try to remain calm and maintain tact while I let the customer talk it through. He vented his feelings and finally came back to the real subject and how to solve his problem.
know the answers in advance. Anticipate. Asking questions shows an interest on the part of the applicant in the company, products, and the job being interviewed for. Properly asked questions demonstrate that you have prepared for the interview and have probably taken the time to do some research. Employers like that. You not only perform your assigned tasks, but you are also a spokesperson for the company. Employees should derive satisfaction from their jobs and look at it more as a challenge than a chore. Show this in the interview by asking the right questions. What results is a better understanding of the role that you perform for the employer. It can help set parameters. Some good questions to ask would be,
to do my job and to help others do theirs, what departments will have close contact?
As order picker, am I responsible for inventory?
What is the annual departmental budget?
Will the foreman be available to answer my questions on tools and dies?
As expediter, will I have order pickers reporting to me?
Your company has shown an 18% annual growth for the past 3 years. What's planned for the next 5?
remember, there are no dumb questions. Prepare a list of at least 10 questions to ask, and by all means, take them with you. At some point during the interview, the topic may shift to compensation for your services, money. Money is important to all of us, but as a rule, the job applicant should not raise the question of salary, bonus, benefits, and the like on the first interview. The company may perceive money as being your primary motivator and could result in your not being offered the job. Wait for the interviewer to raise the subject or until the second interview. Here's where some of your research pays off. From research, you should determine what others in similar positions are paid by competitors, what the national average is, what the company pays. Your investigation should also have revealed the same information on benefits. If you are asked what salary you would expect, your response can vary based on what you feel comfortable with. It might be,
Well, I'm familiar with the national average for this type of position and would favorably consider.
My current salary is $24,000, and I would like 10% more.
I understand that the salary offered for this position is less than I am making now, but the greater responsibility and the opportunity for advancement offset that.
It should be pointed out that some companies pay a lower base salary, but more than compensate for this by offering a higher bonus based on your contributions, profitability of the company, your performance in meeting your assigned objectives, or a combination of these. Several items are appropriate to take to an interview: a current resume, a list of references with addresses and phone numbers, the list of at least 10 questions, samples of work such as a portfolio, letters of recommendation, plus pen and paper. It is recommended that you take notes during the interview. This can impress the interviewer that you are organized and interested in what he says. It's a good idea to practice the interview before you actually go. You can practice with a friend or relative, having them ask questions you think might come up. Ask for honest feedback on your performance. One way to get honest feedback is to record your role play on videotape with a camera. Watching that playback can tell you a lot that you wouldn't otherwise see. So you've organized yourself by studying your assets and liabilities. You've identified your goals. You know what questions to expect, what questions to ask, and you've practiced. Now it's time to put it all together in the interview. In this section called Interview Conduct, we will cover the basics you should anticipate: arrival, appearance, attitude, self-control, conveying motivation and enthusiasm, discrimination, and multiple interviews. Be prompt. Plan to arrive 15 minutes early. People arriving late for an interview seldom get the job. Have directions. Know who you're supposed to see and how to pronounce the name. If interviews make you nervous, avoid coffee, tea, soda pop, and other stimulants at least 4 hours before the interview. It's a good idea to check yourself out in the restroom mirror after you arrive at the interview location. Check your hair and clothes. Appearance is very important. Dress for success, no matter what kind of job you are applying for. Groom yourself well and conservatively. For men, a dark 2- or 3-piece suit, white shirt, contrasting but muted tie, well-shined shoes, no overpowering aftershave. For women, a conservative suit, white blouse, dress shoes, no excessive jewelry or makeup, no overpowering perfume. If you do not have clothes of this type and cannot afford to buy them, borrow them from a friend or relative. At the very least, dress the best possible. Attitude is very important. Attitude is many things combined together. Regardless of all your preparation and organization, it all has to be brought together with attitude. Let's listen to what one personnel manager has to say about attitude.
When a job applicant walks into my office, the first thing I notice is his appearance, his attire, posture, grooming, cleanliness, vigor, and physical condition. Sometimes the interview is over during the first 30 seconds. We do not hire people who are not clean and well-groomed. If they don't care that much about themselves, they probably care even less about their job. I like people who smile, who have a firm handshake, and look me in the eye. This conveys vigor, warmth, sincerity. All of this happens in about 30 seconds. That initial 30 seconds sets the tone for the whole interview, and first impressions last. We are not only looking for a person who can do the job, but how well they will handle it and how well they will fit in with the organization. As a candidate responds to my questions, I'm analyzing their motivation and their enthusiasm. I'm observing their gestures, postures, facial expressions, tonal inflections, eye contact, and composure, all of which indicate how they may function on the job and interact with others about them. In other words, they may be voicing one thing, but their nonverbal cues are telling me something else, which may be just the opposite. Everybody likes people who have a sense of humor, who can smile, chuckle, and laugh, and I don't mean just telling jokes. People who can still see the bright side in the face of adversity or a trying day on the job.
So many things seem to go wrong, I felt that Friday the 13th came on Tuesday the 17th.
Sales in my territory were so bad last month, the only way they could go was up.
One point you will be evaluated on is composure. Composure is your control, manners, and social graces. Each and every employee is looked upon as an extension of the company. They are ambassadors to customers and the community. Mind your pleases and thank yous. Be very polite. If lunch or dinner are included, you can be sure your table manners will be scrutinized. This is the perfect time to not talk with your mouth full of food or slurp soup. If your spouse is along, they are also evaluated. Be honest. Answer all questions truthfully. If you don't know the answer, say so. Do be attentive, relaxed, positive, and upbeat. Smile. Be yourself. Be prepared. Look the interviewer in the eye and mind your manners. Demonstrate your knowledge and experience. Be assertive. Know yourself. Don't chew gum, smoke, fidget, or let your eyes wander. Don't be evasive, digress, or get far away from the question asked. Don't use worn-out expressions like, you know. Don't tell jokes, especially dirty jokes and those that contain racial and ethnic slurs. You can maintain a sense of humor without them. And don't be negative. Don't tell bad things about your current company or fellow workers. And don't tell the interviewing company what is wrong with them. Follow the old advice. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything. Two of the items evaluated during the interview are your motivation and why you want this job. They are closely related. Your enthusiasm in how you express them to the interviewer often determines if you will get the job. Motivation is comprised of those factors that move you to action. It is important for the employer to find out what motivates you.
I like working in the kind of environment that gives you recognition for the job done, like the environment you have here.
I enjoy the opportunity to do my job to the highest level of achievement possible, and this job seems to offer built-in challenges.
Making a positive contribution to the company is important to me.
The chance here to demonstrate my leadership is what I've been looking for.
You must convey what motivates you during the interview. Why do you want the job? More responsibility, greater challenge, latest equipment, more authority, teamwork environment. The company's approach to business is in line with yours. That the company is a recognized leader. That the products are well known for quality. That the person who will be your supervisor is the most knowledgeable in the field. Anytime an interviewer asks a discriminatory question concerning age, marital status, ethnic background, religion, and the like, it is an awkward situation.
Well, Linda, is it Mrs. or is it Miss?
Although I have no problem answering that question, I'm sure you didn't consider that that might be mistaken for discrimination. I am married.
You can tactfully and diplomatically point out that the question is discriminatory, that it is against the law to ask such a question, and that you do not have to respond. If the interviewer persists in this line of questioning, you can become more forceful, even to the point of choosing to end the interview at that point yourself. You have legal rights, especially if you feel that you did not get the job because of discrimination. The same goes for questions or comments with sexual overtones or approaches. These things should not be tolerated. No one wants to work for a company that permits them to happen. Some companies utilize the multiple interview or team interview approach, wherein 2 or more company officials will be interviewing you at the same time. For many, this can be most difficult. The multiple interview provides collective judgment regarding the applicant's potential as a valued employee. People just do not see things the same way. It provides a chance to more carefully evaluate you. During the multiple interview, you should conduct yourself as you would when being screened by just one person. Be prepared, answer questions honestly, and so forth. Try to look the person asking the question in the eye. Then begin your answer to that individual, but periodically look at each of the others. If you determine that one person has more clout than the others, address at least 50% of your remarks to that person, being careful not to slight the others. In part, the multiple interview permits the observation of how you might conduct yourself in a meeting. In fact, you may even be asked to make a presentation. The follow-up. The tendency is to relax after you've finished the interview. After all, there was a lot of preparation, and you worked hard to have a successful interview. Well, go one step farther. Show the interviewer that you never miss a detail. When the interview is over, you should follow up. A common courtesy often overlooked by a job applicant is to send a thank you letter to the interviewer. The letter can contain a summary of your qualifications for the job and why you feel you are the right person to fill the position. You can also state that you look forward to being a member of the company team. If there were questions unanswered or additional information that was requested, these can be included. If a second interview is established, you can include a confirmation of this. If the job was offered, you can include your acceptance. If more than one person interviewed you, send them a letter also, or a copy of the original. You might follow up with a phone call in a few days to make sure the letter arrived, again thanking the person for the interview. We can summarize in 2 words. Be prepared. Taking the time to get ready for the interview by making lists about yourself, by having your goals clearly defined, by researching the company, by writing the questions to ask, by dressing for success, by conveying a good attitude, and following up, you stand a better chance of getting the job you want. Using the information from this program should help you have a successful interview. You may not get the job, but you will have interviewed well.